Welcome to Indie Learning Music Tutor. I am your tutor Harry, and today we are going to be talking about notation as promised in the previous video. This is going to familiarize you with where the notes are on the staff, because we are going to be combining this with what's in the exercise that's in the workbook. The workbook's exercise is going to be in sheet music only, no tablature. So if you saw the last video and you saw where all the notes are, that's great, because you're going to be using that knowledge for this exercise as well. So we're going to start with whole notes. Notation basically is just a measurement of time, how long you're keeping a note. There are notes that are held longer, held shorter, and we'll get into that stuff at a later time. But right now this is just about the basic notation: the whole notes, the half notes, the quarter notes, the eighth notes, and the 16th notes. For this exercise, I am going to be using a metronome. I absolutely suggest you go get yourself a metronome in order to be able to keep your time honest. As far as metronomes are concerned, there are plenty of free applications and websites, education websites, that offer free access to a variety of metronomes. Just look up metronome on Google and you will find a bunch of them. Google even has a metronome that you can use, a very basic one. The metronome I have is set to 60 beats per minute, and that is a very slow, comfortable speed. So without further ado, we're going to start. Our first exercise is going to be whole notes, and we are going to just ascend through the stave from the ledger line below to the ledger line above, from E an octave up to C. Okay?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
F. G. Gotta let it go all the way to the end. A. B. C. D. E. F. G, A, B, and C. And end. So that was from one ledger line below the open E string to one ledger line above the octave up from that E to the C. And that's the general gist of how we're going to be doing all of these exercises, except when we start dividing up that whole note, we're going to be changing notes. So instead of it being it's going to be or and that's how we're going to advance through this. So without further ado,
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
A, C, B, D, C, E, D, F, E, G, F, A, G, B, A, C. Okay, that's our permutation for this. So now we're going to do this again, but we're going to do it with repetition. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, C, A, C, A, C, A, C, B, D, B, 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 D, B, D, F, G, F, G, F, E, G, E, G, E, G, E, G, A, F, A, F, A, F, A, F, A, G, B, G, B, G, B, G, B, A, C, A, C, A, C, A, C, and so those are our half notes. There's 2 of them per bar, and that was just going up in thirds based off of the C major scale. That's just how that naturally happens when you skip a letter note, and you stay to your natural notes, your non-accidentals. So the next note, the next notation mark would be the quarter note. Now, I'm not going to go through the full Monte on this because this video would end up being an hour and a half long. So we're just going to show an example of what's going on in the notation. Just remember that the notation, the printed exercise has repetition in it. So you're going to be repeating the same permutation over and over again 4 times per run. With this, we're going to go with a simple permutation. And if you remember from the permutations lessons, it's going to be open string, first note, first natural note, second natural note, back to open string. Okay?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
E, F, G, E, A, B, C, A, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, G. That's the permutation we're going to go with. If you want to challenge yourself, you can always change up the permutation instead. Do 4 notes per string, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G, G, A, B, C. And that will be listed in the exercise as like an add-on exercise if you want to go further and utilize some shifting. Our next notation is going to be eighth notes, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the same as the last exercise, except we're going to double up. So it's going to be if this starts getting to the point where it is too fast for you, you can always lower the speed on your metronome. That's your first go-to as far as responsible timekeeping and being able to articulate exactly what you're trying to practice. Because it's more important that you practice correctly than it is that you practice fast. The way to get fast, if you want to be fast, you are going to have to slow it down, and that's It's counterintuitive, I know, but that's how this actually works. So let's do our quarter notes now.
1, 2, 3,
Our eighths.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and A and B and C and A and D and E and F and T and G and A and B and D and... I know that went by a little fast, so we're going to try to do that again. Again, the exercises themselves have a lot more repetition involved with them, specifically because they're practice exercises. This is just showing you the basic run, and then your practice exercise is going to be right, with the repetition involved. So let's go through it again, just so that you can see it, what I'm doing. As far as the guitar players, the treble clef players, this is pretty much the same for you. You can extend it down to the last two strings as well if you choose. I'm not going to really show it in this example video, this practice example video, but the notation will be there for you as well.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 3 and 4 and A. I'm going too fast. A few mistakes there, yes, but that's going to happen. That's something that you have to realize. I've been playing for years, and I still sometimes make mistakes. Mistakes happen. The important thing isn't to stop and redo. The important thing is to keep playing. And you heard me say I'm going too fast in the middle of that. I was, and it's important to realize when you are ahead of the beat or behind the beat by accident, and you need to get back on the beat. That is, it's an important skill that it did take me years to actually learn how to do, to not just stop in the middle of a song and go, I fucked up, and then move on, and then start over. This is not something, in a live situation, you are not going to start over. You are going to have to just play through it. You make a mistake, you have to keep playing. And you just have to fix where you're at and not dwell on it. It's definitely not something you can beat yourself up over in the moment. Afterwards, you can say, well, I need to practice that, but you can't, in the middle of a live scenario, you're not going to be able to stop and go, well, I didn't do that well enough. It just doesn't work that way. And finally, the last notation, the 16th note. I will be the first person to tell you I don't play fast. I generally don't play 16th notes very often. It's not my style. I know there are a lot of great players who do, and that's outstanding for them. That's not my bag. So let's start this. One E and
two,
two E and a
three,
three and a four E
four,
and a one E and a two E and a three E and a four E and a. So that's the 16th note exercise. And generally practice these, but practice these while reading them. Look at the notation, understand what the notation's asking from you. Again, this is just basic notation. There are dotted half notes, staccato notes, all sorts of other parts of notation that we're going to be covering in a future unit. So just get the basic notations underneath your belt. As far as if you see it, you know how long that note's going to be. If you see where the note is, you know where it's going to appear here. I can't stress this enough. When you are learning how to read, intellectually speaking, being able to go A, C, E, G sharp is great, but being able to go fluently is better. If you can see it and you know I'm starting here, or knowing where it appears on the fretboard and how you can manipulate that sound to be more of what you want. Because this A and this A are exactly the same, but there's different textures to them. Really depending on what kind of sound you want. But that's a lesson for another time. Thank you for joining me here at Indie Learning Music Tutor. I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you next time.